when this day is done.
Ireland, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Linda. I said to her when I arrived this morning that it is no small thing for a minister to surrender their pulpit to someone else. And I gotta say, I doubly love coming here because this pulpit, I feel like Goldilocks. Right? Thank God you're a show designer. This works for me. This works for me. So today, the title of my talk is How Then Shall We Live? I'm going to start by reading the Joint Unity Statement on Freedom, Love, and Call to Courage, which you all have tucked in your bulletin. Pull out your reading glasses now. And we're going to read this together. The Joint Unity Statement on Freedom, Love, and the Call to Courage. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do something that I can do. In your book, we teach and know that every person is a vital and irreplaceable expression of the divine. Every soul carries this divine spark, and with it, an unshakable worthiness for safety, dignity, and belonging. We affirm the Christ Spirit as the true authority within each person, not imposed by intimidation, but realized through love, wisdom, and the free unfolding of the soul. Our nation's founding ideal, E pluribus unum, out of many, one, calls us to form a more perfect union. Democracy requires all of us to actively participate, share our values, and stand for our beliefs. We reject domination, coercive control, and the seeming unraveling of the principles of democracy intended by our forefathers. For these run counter to the spiritual law of liberty in Christ consciousness, the divine truth that freedom is our birthright, realized in love, never imposed by force. Unity around the world stands on the truth that every being is an expression of God. This truth compels us to end division, to stand shoulder to shoulder, and to let compassion be our action, peace our path, and spirit our unwavering guide. We are committed to building a world where all life can breathe, belong, and thrive. In a nation founded to honor liberty and law, justice always prevails. Families are preserved. Leaders speak for their communities without fear of retribution. Education is upheld with integrity and accountability. Courts act fairly to challenge discrimination, and government protects and serves all. And we know that these same principles resonate far beyond our borders, reminding the global family of humanity of our shared longing for justice, peace, and freedom. The pattern we see today, when unchecked power grows, when fear is weaponized, when trust collapses, and when people are driven apart, is not political. It is instead a spiritual crisis. History shows us that such systems strip away rights, voices, and dignity unless they are collectively and courageously confronted. When sacred truths about justice, equity, and democracy are traded for control, censorship, and fear, we must remember this is not freedom for all, and it is not who we are called to be. What can we do? We can respond with hope. We do not despair. We can speak up. We are not silent. We can act. We are not powerless. This moment calls us to rise, not in silence or in fear, but with clear minds, bold hearts, and compassionate spirits. Guided by the teachings of Unity co-founders Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, we will honor the divine nature within ourselves and others, co-creating a world where love, truth, and justice prevail. Yeah. I read those words and all of a sudden I got taller. You know, it just made me like, oh yeah.
When was that written?
This was first released, near as I could find, out of, in September, in the middle of September. So it's been around for a couple of months.
Okay.
So, given this from headquarters, as I made an aside to someone, it's like, oh gosh, I think somebody at headquarters manifested a spine.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody at headquarters manifested a spine. So I want to talk about it today. And so my talk is in a couple of different parts. We're going to talk about the situation we find ourselves in. We're going to talk about what is, given that, what is our assignment? What is our vision? What are our resources? And given all of that, then how do we answer the question, how then shall I live? All right? We ready to do this? Mm-hmm. All right. The cruelty is the point. When you first heard that, what did you feel? I have to tell you, that statement went through me like a hot knife through my gut. The cruelty is the point. Good Lord, what have we come to? If we refuse to look away or to be in denial, there are a lot of truly awful things happening. The lowest human impulses have been unleashed and are celebrated. Denying basic human dignity becomes entertainment. Long cherished norms and traditions have been trampled and discarded. Destruction is so much easier than creating and building. Violence and raw power are the means of enforcing fear and obedience. We are confronted daily. I am confronted daily with feelings of moral shame and outrage. And in the letter that we just read, the quote, "The pattern we see today when unchecked power grows, when fear is weaponized, when trust collapses, and when people are driven apart. This is not political. It is a spiritual crisis. We are living through a crisis of consciousness, a cultural crisis where we've lost our understanding of our shared divinity. History shows us that such systems strip away rights, voices, and dignity unless they are collectively and courageously confronted." All right, so that's our situation. So what's our assignment? Reading again from the letter. When sacred truths about justice, equity, and democracy are traded for control, censorship, and fear, we must remember this is not freedom and this is not who we are called to be. Every few generations, people are called to course correct so that humanity can move forward. This is our time. I don't know about you, but I have moments where I am just righteously pissed off about him. Right? I wanted my golden years to be easy. But here we are. Here we are. It is now our task. It is our calling. And we must respond vigorously. We must act as the salt of the earth and the light of the world. Because salt wakes things up. Why do you put salt on your food? Because it wakes it up. Salt preserves. It preserves what is sacred. The light of the world illuminates the darkness. This moment calls us to rise, as we were reading, not in silence or fear, but with clear minds and bold hearts. Democracy requires all of us to actively participate, share our values, and stand for our beliefs. We reject domination and coercive control, for these run counter to the spiritual law of liberty in Christ consciousness. The spiritual law of liberty in Christ consciousness. The divine truth that freedom is our birthright. So this is our wake-up call for revival, for reawakening. Folks, the lights are on all over the house, right? The Jewish scriptures remind us, you are not required to finish the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. We do not get to sit this one out. These times call for all hands on deck. Clear the bench. Suit up. Show up. We need you. We need you. We all need each other. This is not a time to hide the light of spiritual understanding. It is time to let divine wisdom radiate through our prayers, our conversations, our choices, and our actions. Clarissa Pinkola Estes wrote a wonderful essay who reminds us that we are made for these times. Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world, will help immensely. When we remember the divine spark in ourselves and one another, we remember who we are and why we are here. Wherever you bring clarity, love, and presence, you illuminate the path for others. Our actions, inspired by Spirit, preserve what is good and true in our communities. Every prayer for peace, every stand for justice, every act of compassion preserves the soul of humanity. I believe this is our assignment. So then, what is our vision? We need a vision to move us forward. From the letter, it says, we reject domination and coercive control, for these run counter to the spiritual law of liberty in Christ consciousness. Let's remember that first and foremost. In unity, we teach and know that every person is a vital and irreplaceable expression of the divine. Every soul carries this divine spark, and with it, an unshakable worthiness for safety, dignity, and belonging. We affirm the Christ Spirit as the true authority within each person, not imposed by intimidation, but realized through love, wisdom, and the free unfolding of the soul. So I offer this as our vision. Our country is not a stranger to difficult times, and neither is the Unity Faith. We've been around the block more than once. Remember that James Dillett Freeman wrote our beloved prayer for protection in the depths of World War II when victory was not assured. We know how to let our light shine in dark times. When the world contracts in fear, we expand in faith. When trust collapses, we become instruments of renewal. When truth is blurred, we become bearers of clarity and compassion. This is what it means to live as awakened beings in a turbulent world. Our persistence is visionary. We do not give up. Hope is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual seeing. It is the ability to perceive the light even when the outer world seems dark. When we affirm all is well, we are not denying the challenges of the world. We are affirming the truth beyond appearances, the divine order that is unfolding even now. We can speak for those whose voices are silenced. We can speak for the earth, for children, for fairness and integrity. Let your words be bold and firm, rooted in love and guided by wisdom. That's the vision I'm holding. So what are our resources? Given these times, given these challenges, given our values, how can we meet the moment? The question is not new. This question is not new. It echoes through the scriptures, through the prophets, through the mystics, through the ages, and through every generation that has faced a moment of great testing. The Christ consciousness within us knows that freedom is not granted by force, but realized in the truth that sets us free. When we honor the divine in ourselves and others, we liberate the soul from fear, from hatred, from separation. Yes. We can respond with hope. We do not despair. We can speak up. We are not silent. We can act. We are not powerless. As spiritual warriors, let's think of ourselves as spiritual warriors. We are on the right side of history, and we are bending that arc toward justice. Spiritual law supports our work. The fact is, we were made for these times because we have spiritual law on our side. Our nation's founding ideal, e pluribus unum, it's not just words on our money. It's spiritual law. Out of many, we create one. In God, we are one. Our differences are just the colors woven in the same divine tapestry. And here's the good news. Every spiritual crisis is also a spiritual opportunity, the doorway to awakening. We are spiritual beings. We are spiritual warriors, endowed with divine capacity to heal, to unify, and to transform. So this is the source of our power. So then how then shall we live? What are we to do? How do I take this and make this mine? Reading again from the letter, I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. Resistance is sacred work. It is faith with its boots on. This is a radical thought to many of us who've been in unity for a long time, because we've always been taught that it's better to put our focus and energy on what we're for rather than what we're against. However, resistance is faith in action. Naming what we oppose helps us stand in truth and choose the right actions for positive change. Calling our leaders, marching, showing up. These are our new rituals of faith and courage. The more we practice resistance, the stronger and more courageous our spirits become. We may be tempted to shrink from our own power, believing that humility may be a little more spiritual. Marianne Williams taught us about that, didn't she? You know these words. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. You are a child of God, and playing small does not serve the world. And as we let our own light shine, we give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. If we yield to overwhelm and apathy, dulling our awareness of what is happening around us, we also lose the joy that comes from conscious connection to spirit and to each other. The good news is that our spiritual vitality can be restored, renewed, revived at any moment through the remembrance that we are divine beings expressing infinite good. So then, how then shall we meet this moment? This is a question of embodiment, right? We don't live up in our heads here. How do we live as radiant expressions of the divine in a world stricken with injustice, conflict, and fear? Remember, we live as salt of the earth and the light of the world. Salt that wakes things up, preserving what is sacred, adding the divine flavor of justice and hope wherever we go. We shall live as light, revealing what is true, illuminating the path of empowerment and unity. We shall live as free souls, unafraid to hope, to speak, to act with boldness. We refuse to shrink in fear. And as we do, we become the answer to the spiritual crisis of our age. So here's a few suggestions on what to do moving forward. First and foremost, ground yourself and keep yourself grounded. All right? This is not a time to abandon your spiritual practice. Whatever it is that grounds you, do it and do it every day. Keep yourself grounded. It's far too easy to spin out in despair. And remember, one of my principles in my book, despair is optional. All right? Ground yourself and keep yourself grounded. Discern what is yours to do, and then do it. And we all do different things. A couple of examples. You held a vigil here a month ago to envision the world we want. Holding the vision for the world we want to create is sacred work. I have a friend who once a week literally goes and picks up the little old ladies in her neighborhood, and they come over to her house, and they do the postcard thing where they have a mailing list and they write postcards, handwritten postcards encouraging people to remember to vote, and they mail those out. Those are powerful. You know, when you get something handwritten in your mail, you read it. And someone who took a moment to remind you that you've got an election coming up and you need to vote is a powerful thing, right? There's a woman that lives in an assisted living facility, West Seattle, where I live. And once a week, they wheel her out to the corner with her sign. And she's joined by other people. And people drive by and honk. She's doing what she can do. My friend Kathy, who lives in Phoenix, she's a thorn in the side of her elected representative. I was telling her, I said, I envision that room where the staff takes the calls from the constituents, that your name is written on the whiteboard. And when they see the call coming in from the number that's Kathy, somebody looks at somebody else and says, it's your turn to take one for the team. She's relentless. Figure out what's yours to do. And do that. Nobody has to do everything, but everybody needs to do something. Pray and keep yourself inspired and aligned. Speak and act boldly. Keep your sense of humor, people. Keep your joy of life. One of the things I love so much about the Spanish people is that, they lived under horrible conditions for 37 years. But they said, even under Franco, we danced. Okay? Focus on your relationships. Keep love in your life. You've got a marvelous spiritual community here. Lean on each other, support each other. You've got friends, you've got family. Make sure you're taking care of each other. It's really important. And keep your hope alive. Remember, tough times never last. Because one day our nation we'll begin to heal. All right? Let's be in front of that parade. Know that our values, our truths, our spiritual laws of oneness, they will eventually prevail. And you'll look back with the knowledge that when times were rough, you did not shrink in your responsibility. You were on the right side of history. For every time we affirm the spiritual law of liberty in Christ consciousness, the divine truth that freedom is our birthright, the darkness recedes just a little more, and the world becomes more radiant with divine truth. So volunteer and vote and peacefully protest. Robert Hubble, whose blog I read daily, says, no active resistance is wasted. No active resistance is unsuccessful, because in resisting, we redeem ourselves. We consecrate ourselves. We reclaim our dignity, and we assert our agency as American citizens who control the destiny of our nation. And again from the Unity letter, Unity around the world stands on the truth that every being is an expression of God. The truth compels us to end division, to stand shoulder to shoulder, to let compassion be our action, peace our path, and spirit our unwavering guide. We are committed to building a world where all life can breathe, belong, and thrive. Guided by the teachings of Unity co-founders Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, we will honor the divine nature within ourselves and others, co-creating a world where love, truth, and justice prevail. In short, we create a world that works for everyone. We create the beloved community. Again, Clarissa Pinkola Estes reminds us, one of the most calming and powerful actions you can do to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. Soul on deck shines like gold in dark times. The light of the soul throws sparks and can send up flares and builds signal fires and causes proper matters to catch fire. To display the lantern of soul in shadowy times like these, to be fierce and to show mercy both, are acts of immense bravery and great necessity. Struggling souls catch light from other souls who are fully lit and willing to show it. If you would help calm the tumult, this is one of the strongest things you can do. There can be no despair when you remember why you came to earth, who you serve, and who sent you here. The good words we say and the good deeds we do are not ours. They are the words and deeds of the one who brought us here. Prayer and holding up positive vision is sacred work. Standing up and speaking up is sacred work. Speaking your truth. Oh yeah, people, I got one last thing to tell you. Speaking your truth, even if it might piss somebody off.
Yes.
Right? Because sometimes your words are going to be the light in the darkness that somebody desperately needs. So don't be afraid of that. When others speak of fear, we can speak of faith. When others expect collapse, we can still affirm divine order. So when we answer the question, how then shall we live? We live with lives of radiant, passionate action, and we stand tall in our truth, and we speak boldly from our hearts. I'm all in. How about you?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, let's do this together.
Yeah.
Thank you.